So right here, I'll break down the functions really quick. This first knob is labeled, they're all labeled here on the top, but the first knob is going to be a gain trim knob. And with the gain trim, you can adjust that and cut your gain between amp 1, amp 2, whichever amp you have selected. You can cut up to 9 dB on this knob and then boost it up to 3 dB. So this is useful if you're listening to your system and you've got like an active 3-way setup, and let's say your tweeters are a little bit hot and you want to dial them back to match the mids, or maybe you need to add just a little bit more gain back to that system. You can do that with that gain trim. There is a little clip indicator right here. You guys can't see it on camera, but that will light up when you clip the amplifier. So if you're boosting or adding any gain back into it, you know exactly what you're getting into. Your second knob is labeled high pass and your third knob is labeled low pass. Now this is where you set your crossover points. So for amp 1, I want this to be my mid-range driver. So
2 3/4 inch?
Yes, let's do a 2 3/4. Let's do our high pass at 500. There we go. And then you're right, let's set our low pass to 5K.
There we go.
There. So that's going to allow that mid-range tweeter, or excuse me, 2 3/4 inch. See, I'll tell you guys what's going on. So the last several times I've done this, I've used my amp 1 as my tweeter. So like I'm having this brain fart where I'm trying to set it for tweeter crossovers. And anyway, you guys don't need to do that.
Let me explain real quick. So amp 3 is actually a lower powered amp stage because, you know, tweeters don't need 125 watts RMS. So we're using amp 3 to power just the tweeters at 65 watts RMS per tweeter. So there's still plenty of power, but this is why Jacob's vapor locking, because he's not accustomed. He was actually doing, I think you're doing a center channel last time. And so for a center channel, you would actually bridge the lower powered channels, amp 3, for that center channel. So that's why Jacob's brain is getting screwed up here.
Yeah, I guess I'm just fried. But anyway, so we can come here and cycle from amp 1. So we've got that set up properly. Let's go to amp 2, and I want this to be like my mid-bass drivers, right? So I will set my high pass to about, let's do 80 hertz.
Good starting point.
And then where did we set off? I think, let me cycle back so I can see where I set off on amp 1, and about 500 hertz. So I'm going to set this down to 500 hertz so that my mid-bass drivers don't play any higher than my 2 3/4 inch speakers in the dash. Now I'm going to cycle to amp 3, and these are going to be my tweeters. So in this case, I'll set my high pass to about 5, what did I have my amp 1 set to here?
I think you went
5K, yeah.
5, yeah.
So I'll just run this all the way up to 5K. So now our tweeters are going to play 5K and up. Our 2 3/4 inch speakers are going to play 5K down to 500 hertz. So they're not overextending from playing too much bass. And then our mid-bass drivers are going to play from about 500 hertz down to 80 hertz. So now let's cycle to our subwoofer channel. And this is also where, you know, they're going to be still labeled high pass and low pass, but what you guys will know them as is subsonic filter and then your low pass filter. So our subsonic, let's say we've got a ported box that's tuned at like, I don't know, 35 hertz, and we want to set our low pass filter at about half octave below the tuning frequency of the box. So that would be about 27 hertz or so, 28 hertz. That'll protect your subwoofer from overextending, from playing way too low, and then we'll set our low pass to about 80 hertz because that's where we wanted our mid-bass drivers to end up. So once you get the hang of the controller, and I know I had some farts going on here, but once you get the hang of the controller and you guys know what you're punching into these things, you can dial in a sound system really, really fast in just about any car on the road. Once you get this amplifier plopped in, get your crossovers point set, and you're good to go.